So I was going to sleep. I was in bed after I finished the 12-hour stream 2 days ago, and I realized I could not fall asleep. So my thoughts were sort of drifting for a decent period of time, and in that time, I went and thought about. So I had ended that stream with Pokemon Pearl. This is where I ended the 12-hour stream, I think. Wait, no, I didn't even play the game. Well, the day before that, I played this. Yeah, the second day of the 12-hour stream, I did this. And yeah, and so something I realized is that my initial idea was was the second I get the bike, I was gonna go out of bounds and sequence break. And my original idea, way long ago, was I'm gonna get the legendaries then, like get Arceus and all those folks straight away. But they're so hard to catch that like Master Balls are kind of a necessity to get later on. So that should be delayed until I have Master Balls. However, what I'm doing in this file, and have been doing for a little while, my idea too basically, was get a Camerupt. I forgot these names are fantastic. I got a Camerupt. So this Camerupt you get by sequence breaking. It's easier to catch than out of bounds Darkrai, and easier to catch than out of bounds Arceus. It's as easy to catch as Shaman, but Shaman's level 30, and also has like very little moves it learns and very little TMs it's compatible with. Shaman has like really weird in this generation, unless you're using Skyform and Platinum and HTSS. Anyways, so yeah, the current idea was, okay, gonna use Camerupt. This Camerupt can destroy the game. But the thing is, that takes time. That takes about 10 minutes just to get to Camerupt. No. Okay, so when I do Camerupt, I go out of my way. Like, from the bike, which I have right now, from when I finish Eterna City, and can then go out of bounds and do anything, I'm supposed to go to Hearthome City, but out of bounds require Jubilife City. So since I was prioritizing the out of bounds and doing them ASAP, I was going as far as going from Eterna to Jubilife and then Jubilife to Hearthome, which is slow. And then once you get to Jubilife, you have the whole process of getting out of bounds, which takes time. And so it takes at least 10 minutes to get to the Camerupt. And then catching it takes anywhere from like, first try 1 minute, or 10th try like 10-15 minutes. So it's probably going to take at least 15-20 minutes to get this Camerupt. And that's not the worst, except you consider like that the game gives you a Chimchar at the start of the game, and is the Chimchar really 15 to 20 minutes slower? And obviously the answer is no, but Camerupt makes things easy. And that's important for a really long run, having things simplified. So I figured there has to be a better way to do this. So my first idea was Turtwig. My idea was, okay, well this game gives you Fly relatively early in the game. It gives you Fly when you get to Veilstone. So, where's my town map? So from starting the game, you go from Twinleaf to Sandton Town, Jubilife, then Orberg, then Floroma, and then Eterna, and then the game opens up after Eterna. And so, from here you go directly to Hearthome, and that's the thing. And then, you don't really do anything at Hearthome, and then you go to Solaceon, and you don't do anything in Solaceon either in a normal speedrun. And then you get to Veilstone, and then you have Fly. So, like, a super truncated run-through could probably get from Eterna to Veilstone in, like, I don't know, like 6-8 minutes. Which is the thing I have to do anyways. And yeah. So that makes it seem like backtracking for Camerupt isn't worth it. No, RNG manip, well, yeah, RNG manip for like RCS would be really good. Actually, yeah. With Master Ball. Actually, I never thought about that. It's a really smart idea. I don't want to go off a tangent. That's a really good idea, though. That I didn't have. So yeah, so I was like, alright, so if my idea now is to get the bike, do it normal, get the Veilstone, and then get the fly and do out of bounds then, I basically postpone my out of bounds a little bit, because again, there's like almost nothing in between Eterna and Veilstone, and then in Veilstone you just do a short gym. So, however, Chimchar / Monferno is not going to be so good in this gym. It's a water gym. And so even, you know, the normal speedrun for this game uses Chimchar Monferno, and it gets through the gym fine. I don't know how it does it. It probably goes the same as any Pokemon gym battle when you're like at a disadvantage, or any Pokemon battle in a speedrun when you're at a disadvantage where you just like spam X items at the start and then just go ham. That's probably the strategy, but like that gym, I don't expect it to be easy at all. So I got a new idea while I was in bed after the 12-hour stream on Sunday night, and my idea was Turtwig, because Chimchar is actually disadvantaged at the Oreburgh gym as well. So given that there's only 3 gyms up to when I get Fly, you have Oreburgh, Eterna, and then Veilstone. Chimchar being negative at Veilstone and Oreburgh is pretty shitty. Chimchar can sweep through Eterna City, but the thing is, Turtwig isn't gonna struggle. Like, it'll be slower because like I won't have fucking like fire moves, but like that seems like a non-issue. Because I can honestly probably the run up to Floroma is probably gonna be faster. Or the run up to Eterna is gonna be faster, and then the chunks after Eterna are gonna be faster. So it's like, for this small microcosm of a run, not the entire game, because obviously regular runs use Chimchar, and it's like objectively the best. But for this subset of like scenarios where I'm only doing vanilla up to Veilstone, Turtwig seems really good. So I tweeted that out yesterday morning. I'm like, all right, good news, gamers. Turtwig's on the route, and a lot of people like Turtwig. Turtwig's great. So is Torterra. But then I realized Heart Gold. So what I hadn't considered then. So this all legendaries thing run has a ton of logistics that I have to consider. I have to consider how, since the 2 main Pokemon games, like Ranger's a main game, but it's like a side game. The 2 main like Pokemon RPGs are Emerald and Pearl. And so originally I was going to spend about 15 minutes on Sapphire and 15 minutes in Heart Gold, and that's it. And then barring Ranger, which is long but not an RPG, the main Pokemon games are Emerald and Pearl. So those 2 games synergize, and items from Emerald are going to help Pearl immensely. So I had that all sort of internalized and memorized and stuff. But what I was considering when I read it on Turtwig was that I have to like take into account a new set of logistics now. That being that before I made this decision about Turtwig, I had also made the decision that I was going to change how I do Pearl. So I made a change because I looked at the logistics, and honestly, I have to catch 4... Is it 4? Maybe it's 3. I have to catch at least 3 legendaries in Pearl before I get the national dex, and I'm only gonna get the national dex with I'm only going to get Master Balls through Pal Park. So up until National Dex, I have no Master Balls essentially, because I'm not gonna do Vanilla. I'm not gonna go into Galactic HQ. You can go out of bounds. It takes like 30 minutes. I'm not doing that. And so I need 3 Master Balls for these legendaries, because Palkia isn't the worst, but Uxie and Mesprit are Uxie and Azelf are really hard to catch. And in this game, every major legendary has the same catch rate. So like Arceus, Heatran, Azelf, Uxie, Mesprit, they all are just obscenely hard to catch. Like I had trouble getting Arceus when I started this whole routing process a couple months ago. Arceus took me forever without a Master Ball, and that's how they are all are, which is fine casually. Like I enjoyed it as a kid. Like this huge struggle, but I don't want that in the run. So I got this new idea before I rolled around the Turtwig, and that idea was to use Heart Gold and get Pal Park in that game ASAP as possible, because Heart Gold can get to Pal Park in under 2 hours, which sounds like a lot of time, because before I was only using Heart Gold for 15 minutes, so that's 105 minutes of extra credit just to get those Master Balls, which would save time on Azelf and Yuxi and Palkia, but not an hour and a half. But, of course, Heart Gold isn't just, you know, a Master Ball getter. It's also a means to get Raikou, Suicune, Entei, and Mewtwo really fast, and without using glitches and Emerald. Getting those legendaries in Emerald is painless in terms of, like, effort. Like, when I generate the Pokemon in Emerald, a lot of the time and logistics that go into it is giving the Pokemon the specific EVs needed to generate my specific desired Pokemon. That's a lot of the time sink in logistics for generating Pokemon. Generating Pokemon is time consuming because the glitch is non-deterministic, but again, most of the time for generating Pokemon, I'm just spamming one RNG glitch until it works. But the part that is logistically important is the EV stuff. I have to EV train a C-Dot fully in HP for Celebi. And so the EVs, consider them just the species number, because for all intents and purposes, they are the species number for the Kanto and Johto Pokemon. Hey Jenny. So like if I want Celebi, which is ID 251, I think, in the National Dex, I have to give a C-Dots 251 HP EVs. So that's pretty time consuming. But there's no getting out of that. I have to do that anyways because Celebi cannot be gotten any other way. So, for example, if Celebi was not necessary to get from Emerald, then I could probably skip that EV training and only EV train up to 151 for Mew. And so then I cut down a lot of EV training in Emerald, which is really nice because it's really time consuming. But again, I can't do that. So this builds a really interesting situation where getting the legendary dogs and also Mewtwo in Emerald is not exactly going out of my way to do it, because the legwork involved is legwork I'm already forced to do for Mew and Deoxys and Celebi. So that all sort of aside, there is time spent generating Pokemon in Emerald. It's not really out of the way at all, because again, although legwork is done, but again, the glitch is RNG, so it takes at least 5 to 12 minutes to generate one Pokemon. That's the best case scenario. So, assuming it takes about 40 minutes to generate Mewtwo, Entei, Raikou, Suicune, which is honestly pretty optimistic in my opinion. Assuming that's the case, that basically means as long as Heart Gold... So Heart Gold, I'm already doing 15 minutes of the game. So we can add the 40 from Emerald that we're kind of subtracting from Emerald and taking in Heart Gold. Because Heart Gold, obviously there's no reason to get those 4 legendaries in Heart Gold if it's really slower. If it's like a bit slower, then that's fine, because it's much more simple to just catch them. But yeah, so the 15-minute sort of base time consumption in Heart Gold there, and then the 40 minutes for the legendaries I'm going to get that I wouldn't get in Emerald and save time for that, gives me a 55 minutes sort of like base cost, or like sunk cost? I don't know how to describe this. Basically, in terms of how like out of the way doing Heart Gold is, given that my initial impetus for doing Heart Gold was just Master Balls, it takes 2 hours to get from starting Heart Gold to the Master Balls. So in a way, that's a 2-hour detour. But because I'm doing, I'm generating the, I'm doing the in-game events to get Dialga in that game already, which takes 15 minutes. And then I'm getting rid of the 40 minutes of those 4 legendaries from Emerald. That means that it's technically only a 1 hour and 5 minutes time sink. Slash like detour. That aside, I can also go through Johto really easily in Heart Gold. And I realized this because, so the speedrun for Pokemon Pearl Rex Shop with an RNG manipulated Chimchar and a RNG manipulated Lucky Egg. And obviously Fire and Fighting is a really good type matchup. And Sinnoh is similar to Hoenn, and it has a pretty typical RPG level curve. But Heart Gold, given that it's Johto, the way the game's structured is, while in most Pokemon games you're gonna have like a level 25 or 30 Pokemon by the 4th gym, in Johto, a lot of the Pokemon around you are going to be level 25 or 30, even when you have 6 or 7 badges. So the level curve in Johto is just like, the levels are so low. And so what that means is that this super powerful Monferno, like, built to withstand Sinnoh, can totally run amok in Johto. So I can go through Johto with that hour and 5 minutes of time sink going out of the way. I can whittle that down a fair bit by having a fucking Chimchar and then Monferno and then Infernape running through all of that. Yeah. And so that's really fucking good. So I'm trying to consider Heart Goal as well, because at the moment that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. Because what is it? So it's 40 minutes. Yeah, it's like 25, 28. Maybe if you're near Blackthorn or something, it's like goofy. So it's 15 minutes of base cost in Heart Gold, because I'm going to start Heart Gold, transfer an Arceus, and do an Arceus event to get Dialga. That's happening no matter what. 15-minute base cost that I invested into it that can help if I do more Heart Gold. And then there's the 40 minutes of time sort of sunk in that I would be using an Emerald. So then I need it to be an hour and a 5. Then it needs to be worth the hour and 5 minute detour. But again, catching Palkia, Uxie, and Azelf would take at least 35 minutes of effort of looking for getting Dusk Balls and changing items and money routes to accommodate just getting a fuck ton of Dusk Balls. And I would probably buy 50 of them. The chances for that to go wrong are so huge. So Palkia's first. I could get Palkia in 6 Dusk Balls. Cool. I have 44 left. But then after that, I could get Azelf with 35 Pokeballs, and then I only have 9 for Uxie, and then I'm resetting constantly, or whatever. The logistics for those 3 can go so out of hand so easily, in my opinion, that with it only being an hour and 5 minute detour, and it being at least 35 to 40 minutes of RNG hell to get the fucking legendaries with Dusk Balls, and putting the time sink into getting the Dusk Balls, at that point, it's only like a 20-minute detour. So, like, this seems pretty worth it. And also, Heart Gold's fucking great. Like, Pearl is cool because of the music. But the region isn't too fun. Johto is boring, but it has like a really awesome atmosphere, and like it's so charming to be in Heart Gold, because even though Johto is like really boring, like it's like huge, like what is it? Like towns like Ekrutik just really make that game something special. Like, yeah. So yeah, it's really, anyway, that's not an important thing, but yeah, Heart Gold's great. And it's with basic like calcs, like a 20-minute detour for that. It removes tons of headaches. It introduces a couple Heart Gold branded headaches, but doing the Dusk Ball shit sounds awful. And the main reason I did this was not to remove the headache of Dusk Balling Palkia, Yuxi, and Azelf. My concern was that while Shaman and Darkrai can be reasonably gotten non-volatilely, Arceus, the out of bounds for Arceus is so complicated that there is a non-zero chance of ruining my save file and getting myself stuck out of bounds doing that. So like, my thought was, okay, I need to do that out of bounds as fast as possible from the run. But the thing is, so again, this run has so many logistics. And I'm gonna summarize this real quick. The run takes 18 hours long. The longer I am in the overall All Legendaries run, the more tired I'm gonna be, obviously. So I need to front load the start of the run with as much physically strenuous stuff, so like Ranger, and ideally complicated stuff. So with that in mind, Ranger has to start first, because Ranger drains so much energy physically, and also goes really slowly if you are not able to like actively like put your muscles and arms into it. Like, the boss fights in that game are all really like batshit hard, and they are only manageable if you are just sweating out the ass and like moving your arms and wrists on this tiny screen like frenetically and ready to like analyze the situation and determine what's safe. And like, that game is physically strenuous as shit and is so stressful. That has to be done first. Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way of putting it. That's a really good way of putting it. I wouldn't have put it myself. Thanks. But yeah, the issue then though is if Arceus, the process of that, if my file gets just like stuck out of bounds forever, that's basically run over. And I do not want that to happen. Like, this run can be 15 minutes long, or 15 hours long, 20 hours long, whatever. The duration, if it's bad, sucks. But what really sucks is having a non-starter where like my Pearl file is completely ruined 6 hours into it. Because Pearl, the process of getting from start to Pal Park, aka Master Balls, is at least like 4 to 5 hours. So that means that assuming Ranger is a decent, generous 4 hours long, and then assuming Pearl from start to Pal Park is 5 hours, then that means at hour 9, I start Emerald. And then do all of that, and then clone Master Balls, and then Power Park them in. And so that would mean at hour like 13, 14, I am now going out of bounds to get Arceus, and like that is at the sweet spot. Or I'm not gonna be tired. Like if I start the day, you know, at like 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. or what is it? You know, I'm not gonna be too tired 2 hours in. Tiredness is like that's like the threshold where it's like you get tired after that. I'll be probably okay for tiredness, but like I'm gonna be so like tapped out. Like I do not want to do a run ending trick that late in. Like no. So Arceus actually needs to get taken care of as soon as fucking possible. So even though Heart Gold and Soul Silver is technically 25 minutes, with generous estimates, 25 minutes on optimal, it loses 25 minutes of time, kind of. It's necessary. Like, that is extremely necessary. And also, so it takes about an hour and a half to get from boot up to out of bounds. Like a new file and Pearl to out of bounds. Hour and a half or so, depending on how I play it. Which means, like, technically, if I dead end my save file an hour and a half in, that's not necessarily run over an hour and a half in the Pearl. Because, like, Ranger could go so poorly. Like Ranger can span from, like, ideally, it runs 3.5 hours long. Like, a decent run, with, like, boss fights being nice, is, like, 3 hours and 50 minutes, 3.5 hours long. But, like, Ranger could take me 5 hours. I could just have, like, an hour and a half of time loss. That's a possibility. And that means I should honestly... That gives me the thought that if Ranger can just have, like, a fucking hour and a half of give or take, Pearl can have that. Like, given that previously I was only going to get Master Balls on Pearl until I was 6 hours into it, that meant that if the file got destroyed 6 hours in, then that's completely run over. But given that I'm literally doing all the PAL parking shit from Heart Gold, which is safe from this Arceus shit, that means that literally I can just trade some like fucking Mankeys to Pokemon Pearl and have them holding Master Balls for Arceus, and like if the file gets corrupted, like shit dude, I lost some fucking infinitely cloned Master Balls and Mankeys in an hour and a half, which I could have also lost in Heart Gold or Ranger. Like, that's not the worst thing in the world. So like Heart Gold makes it so much safer. Yeah. It's a run I'm making, yeah. It's been a project for a couple months of mine, and if that 25-minute speech I just gave is any indication, it's extremely complicated. Like, it's a complex problem to solve, but it does not have, like, one... It's not like, you know, like, what is it, like... Some speedruns in some games can get, like, solved. Like, Super Mario Bros. 1 is considered an almost solved game, because, like, that game is only gonna get records by, like, frames. No one's gonna get, like, a world record by, like, you know, 10 seconds or whatever. And, like, TAS is sort of aimed to, like, solve the puzzle and, like, project of the game. I can't do that. I'm a person. This is not a task. This is not anything. This is a complex thing which is graspable, and I could like make a task of this and it'd be fine. Like right now, I can make a task of all this and it would be great. But no, this is a live run, which means all of the logistics needed for a baseline aptitude for this, which I have, get compounded with the logistics of contingency plans, which is basically all that Heart Gold is. It's a gigantic 2-hour-long contingency plan to make me safe from volatile Arceus file corruption. Just to like really personify how the contingency for this is layered on top of other levels of complexity. And previously I've had to think of how Emerald synergizes with Pearl, like what Emerald can give Pearl, because Emerald can generate any item and give it to Pearl. So I thought about that before, and that's really complicated as shit. And now I have to include how Emerald, or how Emerald can do things in Heart Gold, and how Heart Gold can help Pearl, and the more I try to make the run more manageable and safer, the things I do to get there only add more layers of like things to consider. Like that one meme where it's like the woman like looking dazed and like the formulas are in front of her face. That's like me, but like times 10, because there's like 10 formulas from like several different games. But then to trigger the formula, you have to like get 8 gym badges, but you have to like get those 8 gym badges while like doing underwater basket weaving, and it's like, okay, like it's just a lot on top of a lot. So the reason I got to explaining this is because I was going to say that right now I'm testing Pearl. I'm testing my Pearl route to get the National Dex, because the National Dex is not free in Pearl. You have to see every Sinnoh Pokemon to get the National Dex. And I have to go out of my way to experience 40 Pokemon. So right now I'm testing that my route for National Dex works. So I'm going to run through Sinnoh and beat the game. My point was, in making this speech, was that this is not indicative of what the run will look like, because it's established right now that... See you, Zero Luck. Thank you, and enjoy your walk, if it's enjoyable, and not like super cold or annoying. That which can be enjoyable, I hope, is there. Tolerable. So... where was I? Yes, so... I'm like running through a route right now for Pearl that I'm not even going to use, because I'm not going to use Camerupt. That's the whole point. Like, I could have TLDR done that and not given a speech half an hour ago. Just TLDR, I'm not using Camerupt, but I wanted to explain. And as you can see, the answer is very, very complicated. I also skipped over something pretty huge. So when I was initially thinking of including Heart Gold, it was again just for safety. Like, it doesn't matter how slow it is, as long as it's not too slow. But I asked myself the question, how slow is it? Only takes 2 hours to get to Pal Park. Okay, so it's maximum 2 hours slow, but it's not, it's like 30 minutes, as we calculated earlier. But I forgot, that's not even true. I calculated earlier, it'd be 30 minutes slow, Heart Gold. It's a 30-minute contingency plan. That's not even true, because I forgot the best part. The best part is, so Chimchar can fuck shit up in Johto and make that game faster and easier. That's great. The thing I didn't mention is that after I get Pal Park in Heart Gold, I trade the Chimchar back to Pearl, and while a Pokemon Pearl copy given a high-level Pokemon from another game will not have the Pokemon obey them with 0 gym badges, given that the Chimchar came from Pokemon Pearl, it will actually obey me. Meaning that I will have a like level 55 Infernape to literally use from before I get to Jubilife through the entirety of Sinnoh. So I'm going to defeat literally every trainer and literally every gym and Elite Four member with a level fucking 55 and then 60 and then 70 Infernape. And so that's the great thing. So that makes Heart Gold go from being 30 minutes slow to like, it honestly breaks even. Because I was going out of my way before for Camerupt. Camerupt's 15 minute detour, bam. So now Heart Gold's 15 minutes slow. But like, using Chimchar before I could get Camerupt is not the best. So it works better. But yeah, so taking that into account, Heart Gold is like 5 minutes slow or something. Like, it's almost honestly faster. Despite the fact that I almost went and did this run without using Heart Gold for anything other than the 10 minutes in Dialga, it's the fact that it just does so much. Like, Heart Gold can just power up Pearl so much to the degree that it's honestly breaks even, and it also makes the run way easier, way more like fun, and it actually safe. Like, the run before was not safe. The run before had the chance of literally dying 16 hours into the speedrun to Arceus, or Shaven, or Darkrai. And that is no longer a thing at all. So, like, this Heart Gold, like, the sudden idea for using Heart Gold I had, like, falling asleep 2 days ago, is, like, honestly a spark of, like, insane amounts of brilliance, because, like, I considered Heart Gold from, like, day one. Like, I did so much glitch testing in Heart Gold, and I did so much testing and had to sequence break it, and I had so much fun, and then I was sad because I had to route out Heart Gold because I realized it was slower, and like, I tried my hardest to include Heart Gold, but I wasn't able to. But with what I know now and my reason for Heart Gold changing now, originally I was using Heart Gold just for legendaries, but now I'm using it for this like fucking Trojan horse for like destroying Sinnoh. And also giving me infinite safety. So like, it's actually ridiculous. Like, Heart Gold from something I tried really hard to include, decided I could not use after like months of like learning and like practice and like routing. Like, that was not like an uninformed Kate. That was like 2 months of like shit Kate. I was 2 months into like so much research and stuff. But the Kate of today has realized that if I change my parameters and reasons for using Heart Gold to be safety and fucking up Sinnoh, also factoring in that it gets me legendaries that would otherwise take time to generate an Emerald. They'd be faster to generate an Emerald than not using Heart Gold at all, but I can still get them, and that takes out making Emerald. And so all that factored in, yeah, it's almost faster, if not faster. And it's easier, and it's actually safe. Like, there's no chance of the run dying at all unless I get tired or something. Yeah, RNG Unip would change this thing entirely. Fallen Hearts mentioned earlier that RNG Unip could be used to get a Master Ball in this game, which I hadn't even realized was a thing. I forgot, like, the Jubilife City has a lottery. Most games have it like in the end game, but here it's the start of the game. Yeah, that could be done. What else? Emerald, I'm going through with no RNG Unip. And it would help there. So yeah, RNG Manip would help a decent bit in Pearl and Emerald. But given that I've had to learn how to speedrun Heart Gold, Pearl, Emerald, and Ranger, no. After learning to speedrun 4 games, after calculating the most infinite amount of logistics and contingency plans, I am not going to, like, break my brain in half figuring out RNG manipulation. And the thing about RNG manipulation also is it takes time. Human error means that you are going to get your RNG seed, like, 30% of the time or so, at best. Because, like, human error, you have to hit the exact same frame. and you can't do that 100% of the time. So you're gonna have at least 70% of your attempts fucking fail. And if I start with Emerald or start with Pearl, that's okay, I guess. But doing that after Ranger and Pearl, doing that after Emerald, like, no. Especially because I'm gonna start Pearl like like hour 12 or 13, maybe 10 or 11 or 9. But like, yeah, I'm not gonna do RNG manips like that late in, especially given that like I haven't learned it yet. I don't want to learn it. RNG manips is like really annoying. Yeah. Anyways, that's my situation. Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, the dirty secret of all this is that a quote-unquote real Pokemon speedrunner would shit over my, like, stuff and get a faster time because they'd be using RNG minip. But, you should try and find a real Pokemon speedrunner who knows all the fucking ridiculous amounts of knowledge and also learn how to speedrun those 4 games, and then they can shit in my time. But that's not gonna happen. So I'm like kind of doing like a dumb thing, but it's not that dumb.